Hello, everyone. You are on the Thrive Sphere channel. Today, you will learn about metabolic age, how to reduce it and why is it necessary, combination of science and anti-aging, high involvement, introduction, why you should care about your metabolic age. When people think about aging, they usually picture wrinkles, gray hair, and aching joints. But there's another kind of aging that's even more important and often overlooked. It's called metabolic age, and it could be the missing key to your energy, weight, longevity, and overall health. In this video, we're diving deep into the concept of metabolic age, what it is, how it's calculated, why it matters more than your birth certificate, and, most importantly, how to lower it naturally. Whether you're 25 or 55, your metabolic age could be sabotaging your goals or silently accelerating your decline. Let's change that. Chapter 1. What is metabolic age? 1.1. Chronological age versus metabolic age. The difference that matters. Let's start with a simple but powerful distinction. Your chronological age is just the number of birthdays you've had, the age written on your passport or driver's license. It moves forward predictably, 1 year at a time, and there's nothing you can do to slow it down. But your metabolic age is different. It's a reflection of how old your body behaves on the inside, based on various biological and metabolic markers. Think of it as a mirror to your true inner vitality, your energy efficiency, and the overall functionality of your systems. From mitochondria to muscles, hormones to heart rate. Imagine two people who are both 40 years old. One feels energized, recovers quickly from workouts, maintains lean muscle, and has stable blood sugar and a sharp mind. The other feels sluggish, gains weight easily, has elevated inflammation, and struggles with poor sleep. Chronologically, they're the same age. But metabolically, they might be 10 to 15 years apart. So what's influencing that gap? That's what we'll unpack throughout this video. And it starts with understanding how metabolic age is measured. 1.2. How is metabolic age measured? There isn't a single test called the metabolic age test. Instead, it's an estimate based on a combination of health markers that relate to your metabolic efficiency, body composition, and cellular performance. Let's break this down into two categories: basic measures and advanced biomarkers. A. Basic measures. What most fitness scans use. These are the metrics you'll typically find if you've done a DEXA scan, used a smart scale, or had a BMR test at a fitness or wellness center. 1. Muscle mass. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. The more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolism and the better your insulin sensitivity. A low muscle-to-fat ratio can increase your metabolic age significantly. 2. Body fat percentage. A high body fat percentage, especially visceral, deep abdominal fat, is strongly linked to metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, and accelerated aging. Even people who appear thin can have dangerously high levels of visceral fat, known as TOFI, thin outside, fat inside. 3. Basal metabolic rate, BMR. This is how many calories your body burns at rest to maintain basic functions like breathing, circulation, and cell repair. A higher BMR generally indicates a younger metabolic profile, while a low BMR may suggest metabolic slowdown. 4. Visceral fat levels. Visceral fat surrounds your organs and secretes inflammatory molecules like cytokines and interleukins. Excess visceral fat is one of the strongest predictors of metabolic age, more so than subcutaneous fat. B. Advanced biomarkers. The full picture. To get a truly accurate picture of metabolic age, many researchers and longevity clinics look beyond just body composition. These functional and biochemical indicators tell a deeper story. 1. VO2 max, aerobic capacity. Your VO2 max is a measure of how efficiently your body uses oxygen during intense exercise. It's strongly correlated with longevity and cardiovascular health. A high VO2 max is like having the engine of a younger, more athletic person. 2. Blood glucose and insulin sensitivity. High fasting glucose, poor glycemic control, or insulin resistance, even at subclinical levels, are all red flags that your metabolism is aging faster than your birth certificate suggests. 3. Heart rate variability, HRV, and resting heart rate. A higher HRV and a lower resting heart rate are signs of a resilient nervous system and efficient recovery. Two powerful indicators of youthful metabolic health. These are often tracked using wearables like Oura Ring, Whoop, or smartwatches. 4. Inflammatory markers. Chronic low-grade inflammation accelerates biological aging. Elevated levels of CR, PC-reactive protein, homocysteine, IL-6, or TNF-alpha suggest that your body is stuck in a state of internal stress, which can prematurely age your cells and tissues. 5. Mitochondrial function. The mitochondria are your cell's power plants. When they become damaged, inefficient, or fewer in number, your metabolic rate slows, fatigue increases, and oxidative stress rises. All hallmarks of accelerated aging. Specialized tests, like mitochondrial DNA analysis or functional assays, can assess this in high-end clinics. 1.3 Why this metric matters more than you think. Knowing your metabolic age is more than just a vanity metric. It's a predictive health tool. A higher metabolic age than your chronological age is associated with higher risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive decline, lower immune resilience, reduced muscle strength and mobility in later life, more difficult weight loss or fat loss despite diet and exercise, faster onset of menopausal symptoms in women or testosterone decline in men. On the flip side, lowering your metabolic age by even a few years is associated with better blood sugar and insulin response, more efficient fat burning, improved sleep, mood, and cognitive clarity, better cardiovascular performance and exercise recovery, biological age reversal. Yes, literally turning back the clock on aging 1.4. Why you can be younger than you think. Here's the good news. Metabolic age is changeable. Unlike your chronological age, which only moves forward, your metabolic age can move backward, sometimes dramatically, through targeted lifestyle changes. People in their 40s, 50s, or even 60s have successfully brought their metabolic age down by a decade or more through strategic nutrition and supplementation, strength training and high-intensity intervals, stress reduction, sleep optimization, and circadian rhythm alignment, intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating, enhancing mitochondrial health through specific nutrients and practices. We'll talk about these in later chapters. Quick metabolic age. Self-check. Engage your viewers. Ask yourself, do you feel younger or older than your age? Are you tired even after a full night's sleep? Is it harder to lose weight now than it used to be? Are you often bloated, foggy, or low on energy? Are your workouts less effective than they used to be? If you answered yes to more than 2 of these, your metabolic age might be higher than your chronological age. But don't worry. This video is your roadmap to reversing that. Chapter 2. Why Metabolic Age Matters. 2.1 An Early Warning System. Before symptoms appear. One of the most powerful aspects of metabolic age is its ability to act as an early warning signal. In modern medicine, we often wait for symptoms before we investigate. Fatigue, weight gain, sleep problems, brain fog. But by the time symptoms appear, the underlying issue may already be well advanced. Your metabolic age, on the other hand, can reveal dysfunction before traditional lab work shows abnormalities. It's a canary in the coal mine, signaling things like slowing mitochondrial efficiency, insulin resistance in the early stages, chronic low-grade inflammation, a shift toward catabolism, the breakdown of muscle over time, cognitive slowing and neuroinflammation. For example, you might still have a normal fasting glucose level, but a raised metabolic age suggests your body is already struggling with glucose disposal and energy utilization. That's how powerful a predictive tool it is. In short, metabolic age doesn't just reflect your current state, it forecasts your future. 2.2. Your daily life runs on metabolic age. Metabolic age isn't some abstract number for scientists and athletes. It directly impacts your quality of life every single day. Let's look at the core systems it influences: energy and fatigue. When your metabolic processes slow down, cellular energy production drops, especially in the brain, muscles, and heart. That's why a higher metabolic age often feels like dragging through the day, even with coffee and 8 hours of sleep. A younger metabolic age equals more ATP, more oxygen efficiency, more vitality. Weight and fat distribution. A sluggish metabolism means fewer calories burned at rest, increased fat storage, and less lean muscle maintenance. Worse, you tend to store fat in more dangerous places, like the liver, around the organs, visceral fat, and in the belly area. Metabolic age is directly linked to where your body stores fat and how easily it releases it. Cognitive function. The brain consumes over 20% of your body's energy, and it needs a constant flow of glucose and oxygen. A higher metabolic age can impair focus and attention span, memory recall, mood regulation, irritability, neuroplasticity, the ability to learn new things. There's even emerging evidence linking metabolic age to early-onset neurodegenerative changes, such as in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Sleep quality and circadian health. Poor sleep is both a cause and consequence of higher metabolic age. Mitochondrial dysfunction, unstable blood sugar, elevated cortisol. All of these impact sleep depth and hormonal rhythms. People with older metabolic ages often experience trouble falling or staying asleep, shallow, non-restorative rest, early morning wake-ups, daytime sleepiness, and poor recovery. Improving metabolic health equals deeper, more rejuvenating sleep. Hormones, libido, and reproductive health. Metabolism and hormones are tightly interwoven. A sluggish metabolism can lead to low testosterone in men, estrogen dominance or early menopause symptoms in women, decreased libido, mood swings and emotional volatility, thyroid downregulation, often overlooked. Your hormonal system reads your metabolism like a dashboard. When it sees low energy availability, it turns off non-essential processes like fertility and libido. Recovery and resilience. Whether it's from exercise, an injury, a stressful week, or a viral infection, your metabolic age determines how fast you bounce back. A low metabolic age supports faster muscle repair, less post-workout soreness, quicker immune response, more resilience to physical and mental stress. A high metabolic age, on the other hand, often comes with delayed healing, prolonged fatigue, and lower stress tolerance. 2.3. Metabolic age as a longevity predictor. Most of us don't just want to live longer, we want to live better, longer. That's the difference between lifespan and health span. Metabolic age not equal to chronological age. Two people can live to 85, but one spends the last 20 years managing disease, immobility, and medications, while the other remains active, mentally sharp, and independent. Your metabolic age is one of the strongest indicators of whether your final decades will be vibrant or vulnerable. Research-backed links to longevity studies have shown that metabolic markers associated with a lower metabolic age also predict lower all-cause mortality, reduced risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke, lower rates of cognitive decline, longer telomeres, biological markers of aging. better mitochondrial health, which supports aging at the cellular level. In other words, the younger your metabolic age, the longer and better you're likely to live. The psychological boost, let's not ignore the mental and emotional benefits of feeling younger than your age. You feel empowered, not resigned to aging. You approach life with more energy and optimism. You enjoy a stronger sense of control over your health destiny. And honestly, it just feels good to know your body is biologically younger than your birth certificate says. Real talk. You can reverse your metabolic age. Yes, your metabolic age can be improved. Significantly. And not with gimmicks, detoxes, or fad diets. You'll learn in the coming chapters exactly how to do this. Through nutritional shifts, strategic exercise, mitochondrial support, sleep and circadian rhythm hacks, nervous system regulation, smart supplementation. The point is, metabolic age isn't fixed. It's fluid. It moves with you, and with the choices you make every day. Recap. Why metabolic age should be your new health metric. Forget weight alone. Forget even BMI or body fat percentage. Your metabolic age is a health risk predictor, daily performance indicator, energy and hormone barometer, longevity forecast, reversible target for transformation. Knowing and lowering your metabolic age may be one of the most powerful things you can do to reclaim your health, extend your energy, and live longer, with more purpose, joy, and strength. Chapter 3. What makes your metabolic age go up? Your metabolic age doesn't increase randomly. It's the cumulative result of choices, habits, stresses, and exposures over time. In this chapter, we'll dive deep into the key drivers of accelerated metabolic aging, from muscle loss to mitochondrial toxins. These factors can push your metabolic age years or even decades ahead of your actual age if left unchecked. But the good news is, once you understand them, you can target and reverse them. 3.1. Loss of muscle mass. Sarcopenia, the silent, slower muscle, is often overlooked in health conversations, but it's the single most metabolically active tissue in your body. It burns calories even at rest, improves glucose uptake, and produces anti-inflammatory compounds known as myokines. After the age of 30, most people naturally lose 3 to 8% of their muscle mass per decade, a process called sarcopenia. But it's not just about looking fit. Muscle loss means lower resting metabolic rate, RMR, poor glucose disposal leading to higher blood sugar and insulin, increased frailty and fall risk later in life. A weaker immune system, yes, muscle influences immune health. Slower recovery from stress, workouts, and illness. Without regular resistance training, adequate protein intake, and muscle-preserving nutrients, your muscle mass will quietly shrink, and your metabolic age will quietly rise. Muscle isn't just strength, it's youth. 3.2. Insulin resistance. The root of many modern ills. One of the most dangerous and common contributors to accelerated metabolic aging is insulin resistance. Here's how it works. Every time you eat carbohydrates, your pancreas releases insulin to help shuttle glucose into your cells for energy. But if your cells are constantly bombarded by insulin, due to high-carb diets, frequent snacking, or stress, they become numb to its effects. Glucose builds up in the blood, insulin levels spike even higher, and your body starts storing more fat, especially around the belly. This leads to a dangerous cycle. Increased fat storage is especially visceral fat, higher fasting insulin and glucose variability, inflammation, and oxidative stress. Mitochondrial dysfunction, accelerated aging of blood vessels, brain, and organs. Insulin resistance often goes undetected for years, until it evolves into prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or metabolic syndrome. But by then, your metabolic age may have already soared far beyond your chronological one. Want to feel younger? improve your insulin sensitivity. 3.3 chronic stress and cortisol, your hidden metabolic saboteurs. We live in a chronically stressed society. Digital overwhelm, work burnout, emotional strain, and even positive stress like overtraining. The result? Constantly elevated cortisol levels. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is essential in short bursts. But when it stays high for too long, it becomes catabolic, meaning it breaks your body down. High cortisol can break down muscle, lowering your metabolism, raise blood sugar and insulin resistance, increase fat storage, especially in the abdomen, suppress thyroid function, disrupt sleep and hormone production, weaken the immune system and gut lining. In short, chronic stress can age you from the inside out, and your metabolism suffers. Stress also encourages emotional eating, poor food choices, and decreased motivation to move, compounding the damage. If you don't manage your stress will manage your aging. 3.4. Poor sleep and circadian rhythm. Disruption sleep is where metabolic recovery happens. Your body resets hormones, clears waste from the brain, and repairs tissues. Without deep, quality sleep, your systems fall apart. Metabolic effects of poor sleep include increased ghrelin, hunger hormone, and decreased leptin, satiety hormone, higher blood sugar and cortisol, impaired insulin sensitivity, increased cravings, especially for carbs and sugar-reduced mitochondrial repair. Add to that late-night screen time, artificial lighting, and inconsistent sleep-wake cycles. And you're also disrupting your circadian rhythm, which governs your metabolism, digestion, immune function, and hormone production. Sleep is not a passive state. It's a metabolic necessity. Your metabolic age climbs every night you cut corners on sleep. 3.5. Sedentary lifestyle, the desk job effect. Even if you hit the gym 3 to 4 times a week, sitting for long hours, at a desk, in your car, on the couch, can drive up your metabolic age. Why? Because human physiology is built for movement. Physical inactivity reduces muscle mass and mitochondrial activity, decreases insulin sensitivity, slows lymphatic drainage and detoxification, weakens cardiovascular function, promotes inflammation and fat gain. In fact, studies show that prolonged sitting is an independent risk factor for metabolic dysfunction, even in people who otherwise exercise. The remedy? NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Small, frequent movements throughout the day, like walking, stretching, standing, that keep your metabolic engine running. Motion is metabolism. Stillness is stagnation. 3.6 inflammatory diet food. That ages you, what you eat either feeds vitality or fuels inflammation. The modern Western diet is a metabolic disaster. It's loaded with refined sugars and high fructose corn syrup, ultra-processed foods with additives, preservatives, and fillers, seed oils like canola, soybean, corn, high in omega-6 pure trans fats that damage cell membranes, artificial sweeteners that confuse the gut and brain, refined flours stripped of nutrients and fiber. This leads to chronic low-grade inflammation, blood sugar instability, fatty liver, gut microbiome, disruption, oxidative stress at the cellular level. Over time, this diet ages your cells, slows your metabolism, and increases your metabolic age, even if you're not overweight. What you put on your plate today writes tomorrow's metabolic age. 3.7 Gut dysbiosis, aging from the inside out. Your gut isn't just about digestion. It's a central command center for metabolism, immunity, mood, and inflammation. An unhealthy gut microbiome, a state called dysbiosis, can disrupt nutrient absorption, especially B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, blood sugar regulation, appetite and cravings via gut-brain, signaling inflammation levels. production of short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which protect against insulin resistance and inflammation. Factors that contribute to dysbiosis include antibiotic overuse, low fiber intake, excess sugar and alcohol, artificial sweeteners, chronic stress, and poor sleep. A disrupted gut is a direct pathway to accelerated metabolic aging. Heal your gut, and you'll heal your metabolism. 3.8 environmental toxins, hidden metabolic saboteurs. You may not see them, smell them, or feel them, but they're aging you nonetheless. We're constantly exposed to endocrine-disrupting chemicals, EDCs, and toxins that interfere with cellular metabolism and mitochondrial function. These include persistent organic pollutants, POPs, in non-organic food pesticides and herbicides like glyphosate, phthalates in plastics and personal care products, heavy metals, lead, mercury, arsenic from water or fish, BPAs in food containers and receipts, flame retardants, mold toxins, air pollution. Toxins impact metabolism by disrupting hormone receptors, damaging mitochondria, promoting fat storage, especially as a protective mechanism, slowing thyroid function, driving inflammation, and oxidative stress. Your liver and detox pathways can only handle so much. And once overwhelmed, metabolic dysfunction sets in. Living clean isn't just about the environment, it's about metabolic youth. Chapter Summary: The Perfect Storm. Your metabolic age rises when multiple systems start to falter. Less muscle, more fat. Higher stress, worse sleep. Toxins in, nutrients out, movement down, inflammation up. But now that you know the enemies of metabolic youth, you're ready to start fighting back. Chapter 4. The science behind anti-aging and metabolism. As we dive deeper into metabolic age, it becomes clear this isn't just about diet or fitness. It's about cellular-level rejuvenation. True anti-aging isn't cosmetic. It's metabolic. In this chapter, we explore the scientific pillars behind biological youth, focusing on what's happening inside your cells. The mitochondria, autophagy pathways, oxidative balance, and even your DNA. Let's pull back the curtain on the mechanisms of metabolic aging and how to reverse them. 4.1 Mitochondria, the powerhouses of youth. If aging is a fire, mitochondria are both the fuel and the flame. Mitochondria are your cell's energy factories, converting oxygen and nutrients into ATP. They're energy currency your body uses for everything: thinking, moving, healing, detoxifying, even sleeping. But as you age, your mitochondria decline in number, become inefficient, produce more reactive oxygen species, ROS, aka free radicals, become more prone to DNA mutations, are less able to self-repair or reproduce. This mitochondrial decline leads to lower energy, slower metabolism, insulin resistance, brain fog, fatigue, accelerated fat gain. Scientific insight: mitochondrial dysfunction is one of the 9 hallmarks of aging, recognized by gerontologists as a root cause of age-related diseases and metabolic decline. How to boost mitochondrial health? Zone 2, cardio, like brisk walking or cycling, enhances mitochondrial biogenesis. High-intensity interval training, HIIT, improves mitochondrial efficiency. Cold exposure activates mitochondrial uncoupling for fat-burning nutrients like CoQ10, PQQ, alpha-lipoic acid, magnesium, and NAD+ boosters, NMN Neogen. Intermittent fasting turns on mitochondrial regeneration pathways. Low-toxicity diet reduces mitochondrial oxidative stress. When your mitochondria thrive, your entire metabolism thrives. 4.2 Autophagy, the cellular cleanup crew. Think of autophagy as your body's version of spring cleaning. It literally means self-eating in Greek. But it's not as scary as it sounds. Autophagy is the process by which your body breaks down damaged or dysfunctional cells and recycles them into fresh, functional components. Without this process, damaged cells accumulate and become toxic, spread inflammation, disrupt metabolism, accelerate aging and disease development. Why it matters. Metabolically, autophagy removes old, underperforming mitochondria, clears misfolded proteins linked to Alzheimer's and metabolic syndrome, improves insulin sensitivity, increases fat oxidation, supports muscle repair and longevity. But here's the kicker. Autophagy only happens under specific conditions. How to trigger autophagy. Fasting, 12 to 18 plus hours. The most potent trigger. Exercise, particularly endurance and resistance training. Low-carb or ketogenic diets. Polyphenols, like resveratrol, quercetin, and EGCG, and green tea. Stress adaptation, via hormesis, cold, heat, breath work, no autophagy, no regeneration. It's how your body de-ages itself. 4.3 inflammation and oxidative stress. The accelerators of aging. If mitochondria are the engines and autophagy the maintenance team, then inflammation and oxidative stress are the wear and tear, the rust in your system. When your body is constantly inflamed, it goes into a state of catabolic breakdown. Tissue damage, insulin resistance, muscle wasting, and slowed metabolism. This can be triggered by poor diet, sugar, seed oils, processed food, chronic stress and cortisol, environmental toxins, poor gut health, lack of movement or overtraining, sleep deprivation. Oxidative stress, the cellular rust. Oxidative stress occurs when free radicals, reactive oxygen species, outnumber antioxidants. These molecules damage DNA proteins, mitochondria, cell membranes. This imbalance not only raises your metabolic age, but also increases risk for cancer, cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative disorders, type 2, diabetes. How to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. Eat anti-inflammatory foods. Wild-caught salmon, olive oil, turmeric, berries, cruciferous vegetables. Limit sugar, seed oils, and processed meats. Practice breathwork, meditation, or yoga to lower cortisol. Sleep 7 to 9 hours per night, aligned with circadian rhythms. Take antioxidants. Vitamin C, vitamin E, glutathione, NEC. Improve your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. Hydrate well. Even slight dehydration worsens inflammation. Lowering inflammation isn't just about comfort. It's about longevity. 4.4 telomeres in DNA repair. The cellular clock. Let's zoom into your DNA where aging gets written, literally. At the end of each DNA strand are telomeres, like the plastic tips of shoelaces. Every time your cells divide, telomeres get shorter. When they become too short, the cell can no longer divide, and either becomes senescent, zombie cells, or dies. Why short telomeres equals high metabolic age. More senescent cells equals more inflammation, less regenerative ability, higher risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. Strong predictor of biological age. But here's the good news. Telomere shortening is modifiable. Ways to protect and lengthen telomeres. Sleep deeply and consistently. Exercise regularly, especially endurance and resistance training. Eat telomere-friendly nutrients. Folate, B12, zinc, magnesium, polyphenols. Manage chronic stress. Meditation has been shown to increase telomerase, the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres. Avoid smoking, heavy alcohol, and pollution. Love and social connection. Relationships buffer telomere erosion. Telomeres are your biological clock. Slow them down, and you slow aging itself. Final thought. Anti-aging isn't about reversing the clock. It's about renewing your biology at the deepest level. When you support these processes, you don't just feel younger, you function younger. And that's the difference between adding years to your life and adding life to your years. Chapter 5. How to lower your metabolic age. Naturally lowering your metabolic age isn't about quick fixes. It's about rewiring your biology, retraining your metabolism, and realigning your daily habits with how your body was designed to thrive. Let's break down 10 powerful strategies that work together to roll back your biological clock and supercharge your metabolism. 5.1 Strength training is non-negotiable. If there's one fountain of youth backed by decades of science, it's resistance training. Muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of longevity, metabolic health, and functional independence as you age. And yet, after age 30, most people lose up to 8% of their muscle mass per decade, unless they actively fight back. Why muscle matters? Muscle burns more calories at rest than fat. Boosting BMR, basal metabolic rate. Improves insulin sensitivity, helping shuttle glucose into cells. Strengthens bones and reduces fall risk. Releases myokines. Anti-inflammatory compounds with systemic benefits. Enhances mitochondrial function and triggers autophagy. How to get started. Train 2 to 4 times per week with progressive overload. Prioritize compound movements that work multiple muscle groups. Squats, glutes, quads, core, deadlifts, posterior chain, spine stability, push-ups or bench press, chest, arms, core, pull-ups or rows, back, shoulders. Don't fear lifting heavy, especially women. Muscle doesn't make you bulky. It makes you metabolically bulletproof. 5.2 Prioritize protein. You can't build or maintain lean mass without adequate protein, period. Protein is not just for athletes. It's the raw material for muscle repair and growth, hormone production, enzyme function, neurotransmitter balance, immune system resilience. How much do you need? Aim for 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. For a 150-pound person, 68 kilograms, that's around 110 to 150 grams of protein per day. Best protein sources: wild-caught fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, rich in omega-3s, grass-fed beef and pasture-raised poultry, organic eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, legumes, lentils, tempeh, and fermented soy for plant-based diets. Distribute protein evenly across meals, not just one giant dinner. 5.3 Optimize. Sleep isn't optional. It's the ultimate anti-aging medicine. It's when your body repairs, regenerates, and balances its hormones. And yet, poor sleep is one of the most overlooked drivers of metabolic dysfunction. During sleep, you rebalance insulin and cortisol, secrete growth hormone, critical for muscle recovery and fat loss. Detoxify your brain via the glymphatic system. Reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, repair DNA, and strengthen immunity. Sleep optimization tips. Aim for 7 to 9 hours per night. Sleep in a cool, dark, quiet room. Ideally 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Avoid screens and blue light 1 to 2 hours before bed. Use magnesium, glycine, or herbal teas. Chamomile, valerian, if needed. Keep a consistent bedtime and wake time, even on weekends. Sleep is when your body decides if you're getting older or younger. 5.4 Balance your blood sugar. Every spike and crash in blood sugar is a hit to your metabolism and energy. Chronically unstable blood sugar leads to insulin resistance, increased fat storage, especially around the belly brain, fog and fatigue, cravings and binge eating cycles, higher metabolic age. How to stabilize blood sugar. Combine protein plus fat plus fiber in every meal. Prioritize low glycemic carbs, quinoa, sweet potatoes, legumes. Eat fiber first, carbs last. This improves post-meal glucose response. Avoid sugary drinks, fruit juices, and refined carbs. Walk 10 to 15 minutes after meals to blunt spikes. Bonus: use a continuous glucose monitor CGM for real-time insights. It's like a dashboard for your metabolism. 5.5, train your circadian rhythm. Your metabolism doesn't run on a 24/7 schedule. It runs on a circadian clock. When your circadian rhythm is misaligned, your hormones, especially cortisol, melatonin, insulin, become chaotic and your metabolism suffers. How to reset your metabolic clock. Expose your eyes to natural sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Eat meals at consistent times, ideally during daylight. Stop eating 3 hours before bed. Avoid screens and blue light after sunset. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. A strong circadian rhythm equals strong metabolism. 5.6. High-intensity interval training, HIIT. Short bursts of intense exercise can unlock incredible metabolic benefits, even in just 20 minutes. HIIT triggers fat oxidation, improved VO2 max, hormone balance, insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial biogenesis. Sample HIIT workout, 30 seconds sprint, 90 seconds walk, x 6 to 8 rounds. Total, 15 to 20 minutes. Do 2 to 3 times per week. Don't overdo it. Too much HIIT equals cortisol overload, which can backfire metabolically. Mix it with strength training and low-intensity cardio for balance. 5.7, fasting and time-restricted eating. Fasting isn't a trend. It's a cellular reset button. When done properly, fasting activates autophagy, improves insulin sensitivity, stimulates mitochondrial repair, enhances mental clarity, promotes fat loss without muscle loss. Popular protocols: 16-8, fast for 16 hours, eat in an 8-hour window. 14-10 or 12-12. Great for beginners or women with hormonal sensitivities. 24-hour fasts, 1x per week. For advanced users, tips for safe fasting. Don't fast under high stress or poor sleep. Stay hydrated with electrolytes. Break your fast with protein plus healthy fat. Cycle fasting days to avoid metabolic adaptation. 5.8. Heal your gut. Your gut microbiome is your metabolic command center. It influences nutrient absorption, immune system, modulation, inflammation levels, hormone metabolism, mood and motivation via the gut-brain axis. How to support a youthful gut. Eat prebiotics, garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas. Include probiotics, kefir, yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. Boost postbiotics, SCFA-rich foods. Butyrate from resistant starch. Limit alcohol, NSAIDs, and unnecessary antibiotics. Consider spore-based probiotics and digestive enzymes. Gut health equals metabolic health. Simple as that. 5.9. Hydration and detox support. Your metabolism depends on water for nutrient transport, cellular energy, and toxin removal. Even mild dehydration slows down fat burning, cognitive performance, digestive function, thermoregulation, detoxification, hydration plus, detox, checklist, drink half your body weight in ounces of filtered water daily. Add electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. Sip herbal teas, ginger, dandelion, nettle, natural liver and kidney support. Use an infrared sauna or dry sauna 2 to 3 times per week. Support lymphatic drainage with movement, rebounding, or dry brushing. Detox isn't about juice cleanses. It's about giving your body what it needs to clean itself. 5.1. Manage stress and emotions. You can eat perfectly and train hard. But if your nervous system is constantly in fight or flight, your metabolic health will suffer. Chronic stress raises cortisol, increases belly fat, suppresses immune function, disrupts sleep, accelerates telomere shortening. Ways to de-stress and rejuvenate. Box breathing. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds. Repeat. Meditation. Even 10 minutes lowers cortisol. Nature walks, boost HRV and dopamine journaling, offload mental stress onto paper, meaningful connection, friends, family, pets, all boost oxytocin. Emotional well-being isn't separate from health, it is health. Thrive. Tip: you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Choose 2 to 3 strategies to start with, master them, then add more. Lowering your metabolic age is one of the most empowering acts of self-care you can commit to. Not just for how long you live, but for how vibrantly you live. Chapter 6. Advanced Biohacks to Consider. Once you've mastered the basics, sleep, strength training, blood sugar control, you may feel ready to take your metabolic optimization to the next level. That's where advanced biohacking comes in. These strategies aren't for beginners. They're for the health-conscious, the performance-driven, and the longevity enthusiasts. If you're serious about lowering your metabolic age and enhancing cellular health, this is where science meets innovation. Let's break down some of the most compelling biohacks that are shaping the future of health. 6.1 Red light therapy. Photobiomodulation. Imagine if light could act like a multivitamin for your cells. That's the promise of red and near-infrared light therapy. What it is: red light therapy involves exposing your body to low-level wavelengths of red, typically 660 nanometers, and near-infrared, typically 850 nanometers, light which penetrate deep into the skin and tissues. How it works: these wavelengths stimulate the mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, increasing ATP, energy production. This leads to enhanced cellular repair, reduced inflammation, boosted collagen synthesis, great for skin and joints, accelerated muscle recovery, improved thyroid and hormonal health, metabolic benefits, increases mitochondrial density and function, lowers oxidative stress, speeds up fat metabolism, supports circadian rhythm, especially if used in the morning. How to use it? Use a red light panel for 10 to 20 minutes a day. Target the face, thyroid, or any area with joint or muscle pain. Avoid eyes, unless using specific eye-safe panels. Combine with breath work or meditation for added parasympathetic benefits. Clinical studies have even shown measurable improvements in body composition, muscle performance, and insulin sensitivity with consistent use. 6.2. Cold exposure, thermogenesis training, ice baths, cold showers, cryotherapy. These aren't just trends. They're ancient techniques being validated by modern science. What it is: cold exposure stimulates brown adipose tissue, BAT, a special type of fat that burns calories to generate heat. Benefits for metabolic health: activates brown fat, increasing calorie burn, improves insulin sensitivity, boosts dopamine and norepinephrine, enhancing mood and focus, triggers hormetic stress response, strengthening the body's resilience, reduces inflammation, and improves lymphatic circulation. How to get started: start with 30 to 60-second cold showers after a warm one. Gradually work up to 2 to 3 minutes under cold water. Try cold plunges, 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, for 5 to 10 minutes. Combine with breath work, like the Wim Hof method, to deepen the effects. Cold exposure mimics the metabolic stress of fasting and HIIT, without the movement. 6.3 NAD plus boosters, cellular energy and longevity. As you age, levels of NAD plus nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, a coenzyme critical for energy production and DNA repair, naturally decline. This is one reason cellular aging occurs. Why NAD plus matters: powers mitochondrial energy production, supports sirtuins, proteins linked to longevity, repairs DNA damage, improves cognitive function, enhances metabolic flexibility. How to boost: NAD plus, NR, nicotinamide riboside, shown to raise NAD plus in humans, NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, a direct precursor to NAD plus niacin, vitamin B3. Older, more affordable, but may cause flushing bonus synergies. Combined with resveratrol from red wine or pterostilbene to activate sirtuins pair with fasting or HIIT for even stronger effects. Caution: always consult with a healthcare provider if you have pre-existing conditions or are taking medications. Some early-stage data shows possible downsides if NAD plus levels are artificially elevated too high or too long. 6.4 adaptogens and nootropics. When you want to enhance resilience and mental performance, adaptogens and nootropics offer natural ways to support stress tolerance and cognitive sharpness, both key to metabolic health. What are adaptogens? Adaptogens help the body adapt to physical, emotional, and environmental stress. They modulate the HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, and balance cortisol levels. Top adaptogens for metabolic health. Ashwagandha reduces cortisol, improves sleep and testosterone, supports thyroid function. Rhodiola, rosea, boosts energy, enhances fat burning, improves mental resilience. Holy basil, tulsi, reduces inflammation, improves blood glucose control. Panax, ginseng, improves insulin sensitivity, supports stamina and brain function. What are nootropics? Nootropics are substances that enhance brain performance, including memory, focus, motivation, and clarity. Top nootropics for cognitive and metabolic synergy. Lion's mane mushroom stimulates nerve growth factor, NGF, supports cognition and brain regeneration. L-theanine, found in green tea, promotes calm focus without sedation. Citicoline or alpha-GPC, boosts acetylcholine, vital for learning and memory. Bacopa monnieri, traditional Ayurvedic herb that improves processing speed and memory retention. Cognitive function and metabolism are deeply connected. A sharper brain supports better health decisions, appetite control, and motivation to move. 6.5 Advanced Lab Testing. If you want to truly understand and reverse your metabolic age, data is power. These tests go far beyond traditional labs and provide insights into your cellular aging, inflammation status, hormone health, and mitochondrial function. Recommended tests: Biological age test. Glycan age measures glycosylation patterns linked to immune age. DNA methylation tests, e.g., Horvath clock, true age. Gold standard in biological aging, metabolic fitness panels, VO2 max. Testing measures your aerobic capacity, an independent predictor of longevity, DEXA, or in-body scans. For body composition and visceral fat measurement, resting metabolic rate, RMR, tests. Comprehensive hormone panels cortisol, AMPM, DHEA, insulin, fasting glucose, HbA1c testosterone, estrogen, progesterone thyroid panel, TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3. Cellular health and inflammation, high sensitivity, CRP, HSCRP, homocysteine, ferritin for iron metabolism. Mitochondrial function via organic acid testing, e.g., OAT. These tests let you track progress, target interventions, and catch issues before they become symptoms. Thrive tip: biohacking isn't about doing everything at once. It's about strategic upgrades, choosing the few tools that make the biggest impact for you. Start small, track results, optimize, repeat. Chapter 7. Real-life success stories. Proof that metabolic rejuvenation is real. We've covered the science. We've explored the strategies. Now, let's meet the people who've lived the transformation. These real-life case studies show what's possible when knowledge meets action. They're from different walks of life, different ages, different backgrounds, different starting points. But what they share is a decision to take charge of their health and lower their metabolic age. Let's dive into 3 powerful stories. 7.1 from 50 to 35. How Maria reversed her metabolic age. I didn't just get healthier, I felt reborn. Maria was 52 years old, a retired teacher and a grandmother of 3. She wasn't sick, but she wasn't thriving either. She felt tired all the time. She had joint pain, sugar cravings, and was steadily gaining belly fat despite eating pretty healthy. Then her doctor ran a body composition analysis. Her metabolic age came back, 50. That number hit her harder than she expected. It made me realize that how I felt actually matched how my body was functioning. I was aging faster on the inside than my birth certificate showed. What she did. Maria didn't chase fads. She committed to foundational practices and stuck with them. Strength training, twice a week, guided by a trainer at her local YMCA. She focused on compound lifts, squats, rows, presses, and progressed gradually. She gained muscle mass and improved her balance and posture. Intermittent fasting. She adopted a 16-8 eating window, fasting from 8 p.m. to noon the next day. She reported feeling more mental clarity and fewer cravings. Her insulin levels improved within 3 months. Gut healing protocol. After a microbiome test revealed imbalances, Maria began incorporating prebiotics, onions, garlic, Jerusalem artichokes, probiotics, kefir, sauerkraut, bone broth, L-glutamine, and digestive enzymes. She also cut down processed grains and sugar, which she noticed triggered bloating and fatigue. The results? Metabolic age. Dropped from 50 to 35 in just 6 months. Lost 18 pounds of fat, gained 6 pounds of lean mass. Fasting glucose and triglycerides normalized. Reported 0 brain fog and started hiking again for the first time in 10 years. I used to feel like aging was something that just happened to you. Now, I feel like I'm the one driving. 7.2. Busy professional gets younger. I didn't need more coffee. I needed better metabolism. David was a 38-year-old marketing executive. High-stress deadlines, poor sleep, and constant snacking had become his norm. He wasn't overweight, but his belly fat and lack of energy told a deeper story. When he tried a metabolic health scan at a corporate wellness event, he was shocked. His metabolic age showed 47. I was working 60-hour weeks, living on caffeine, and thought being tired was just part of success. Turns out I was burning myself out from the inside. What he did? David overhauled his lifestyle, one science-backed tool at a time. HIIT workouts, high-intensity interval training, 3 times per week, 20-minute sessions. He alternated sprints, rowing, and battle ropes. HIIT boosted his VO2 max, improved his insulin sensitivity, and gave him his energy back. Continuous glucose monitor, CGM. David wore a CGM for 3 months. It revealed his favorite protein bars spiked his blood sugar more than he thought. Skipping breakfast led to afternoon crashes. A 10-minute walk after lunch dramatically blunted glucose spikes. Sleep hygiene protocol. He turned his bedroom into a sleep sanctuary. No screens after 9 p.m. Blackout curtains, magnesium and L-theanine before bed, wake-up light alarm, and morning sunlight exposure. The results: metabolic age dropped from 47 to 34 in 90 days. Resting heart rate dropped from 78 to 59 beats per minute. Heart rate variability increased by 45%. Reported eliminated belly fat, mental sharpness, and no longer needed his 3 p.m. coffee. I didn't need another productivity hack. I needed to fix my biochemistry. Once I did, everything got easier. 7.3. Postmenopause reboot. Sandra's anti-aging protocol. At 60, I feel stronger and sharper than I did at 40. Sandra had just turned 60 when she felt her body had betrayed her. After menopause, she'd gained 20 pounds, lost muscle tone, and struggled with hot flashes, sleep disruption, and emotional swings. Her metabolic age? 67. She feared this was just how aging worked, until she discovered the functional medicine approach to metabolic age. I had no idea so much of aging was optional. What she did, Sandra's strategy combined anti-aging science with ancient wisdom, anti-inflammatory nutrition, focused on omega-3 rich foods, wild salmon, walnuts, eliminated processed seed oils and sugar, daily green smoothies with turmeric, ginger, chia seeds, and greens, sauna therapy, infrared, used an infrared sauna 4 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes. Benefits included detoxification through sweat, improved skin tone and collagen, deeper sleep and reduced inflammation, adaptogens and hormone balance, took ashwagandha and rhodiola to support adrenal function, added maker root for hormonal harmony, worked with her practitioner to optimize her thyroid and estrogen levels naturally, walking plus rebounding. Sandra walked 5,000 to 8,000 steps daily and used a mini trampoline, rebounder, for lymphatic movement and balance training. The results, metabolic age decreased from 67 to 48 in 6 months, hot flashes disappeared, lost 15 pounds of fat, gained visible muscle tone, reported restful sleep, stable moods, and improved libido. Menopause doesn't have to mean decline. It can be a rebirth, if you give your body the right tools. Thrive tip. Don't compare your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 10. Start where you are. Track your progress. Celebrate small wins. And know this, your metabolic age is not your destiny. It's your feedback. Chapter 8. Final thoughts. Age is a number, but metabolic age is a choice. Let's take a moment to reflect. You've just learned how metabolic age is more than just a number. It's a mirror. It reflects your habits, your biology, your resilience, and ultimately the way you experience life on a cellular level. And here's the truth most people never hear. You don't have to age the way your parents did. Yes, chronological aging is inevitable. Every year the calendar moves forward. But your biological aging, the kind that influences your energy, your appearance, your mobility, and even your emotional resilience, is malleable. It's modifiable. It's in your hands. 8.1 aging isn't the problem. Accelerated aging is. We often blame aging for things like fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, or hormonal imbalance. But what we're really experiencing is accelerated biological aging. Aging that's moving faster than it should, due to stress, inflammation, poor nutrition, inactivity, and environmental toxins. Your metabolic age is one of the clearest indicators of whether you're aging well or aging too quickly. If your metabolic age is higher than your chronological age, your body is working harder than it should. If your metabolic age is lower, you're in a metabolic sweet spot. You're biologically younger than your years. This isn't magic. It's not wishful thinking. It's not biohacking hype. It's science, rooted in decades of research on metabolism, mitochondria, inflammation, and longevity. And the best part? You can change your metabolic age. Starting today, 8.2. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Let's be real. You don't have to live like a monk, drink green juice 24/7, or spend hours a day in the gym. You just need to shift your daily choices in the right direction. Move your body with purpose. Sleep like it's sacred. Feed your cells, not just your taste buds. Manage stress like your life depends on it, because it does. Stay curious, stay kind, stay connected. Each of these choices makes a small shift in your metabolic machinery. Over time, those small shifts become momentum, and that momentum can change the course of your life. You've seen it in the stories we shared. You've seen the science. Now imagine your own transformation. What would your life feel like with more energy in the mornings? A clearer, sharper brain at work? A stronger, leaner body without the guesswork? Freedom from the food cravings, the fatigue, and the fog? Because when your metabolic age drops, your vitality rises. And vitality is contagious. It touches every part of your life and everyone around you. 8.3, this isn't just about years. It's about quality of life. Longevity matters. But even more important is health span. The number of years you live with full function, clarity, mobility, and joy. And that's where metabolic health shines. By improving your metabolic age, you're investing in better immunity, lower risk of chronic diseases like diabetes, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. Fewer medications, more independence as you age, more adventures, more memories, more life in your years. This isn't anti-aging, this is pro-living. 8.4. The body remembers, and the body responds. Your body has remarkable intelligence. It remembers every late night, every sugar binge, every skipped workout, yes. But it also remembers every time you chose differently. That walk after dinner instead of scrolling your phone. That meal rich in fiber and protein instead of another convenient snack. That breathwork session when you could have reached for another coffee. Every small choice sends a signal. And the body listens. It adapts, it rebuilds, it heals. And over time, your biology begins to reflect your intentions. 8.5, you're not too old. You're not too late. You're not broken. One of the most dangerous myths in health is this. It's too late for me. It's not. People in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are reversing chronic illness, regaining energy, rebuilding muscle, and lowering their metabolic age. Not because they have superhuman genetics, but because they stopped waiting and started acting. Every cell in your body wants to move toward balance. All it needs is your permission. So, give it. 8.6, what you can do. Starting today, let's wrap this up with action. Here are 5 small things you can do today that will start shifting your metabolic age in the right direction. Get sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Reset your circadian rhythm and improve sleep hormones. Go for a 10-minute walk after your largest meal. Helps regulate blood sugar and supports insulin sensitivity. Add protein to your next meal. Aim for 30 to 40 grams per meal to support muscle and satiety. Do 5 minutes of deep breathing. Lowers cortisol, inflammation, and metabolic stress. Go to bed before midnight. Your deepest, most regenerative sleep happens earlier in the night. These aren't dramatic, but they work. And they compound. Stack one win at a time. 8.7 final words. From ThriveSphere at ThriveSphere, we believe that science should empower, not intimidate. That aging should be seen as a journey, not a decline. And that every human body, including yours, has the ability to regenerate, renew, and rise above its limits. Metabolic age is not your fate. It's your feedback. So listen to it. Learn from it. And if you don't like what you hear, change the story. You have the knowledge. You have the tools. Now all that's left is your next step. Because no matter your age, no matter your past, you can start getting younger today.